This new finesse technique is going to change the way that you fish for bass forever. Stay tuned, watch the whole video, and we're going to talk about the free rig. Right in the top of the mouth. 3/16 ounce X-Zone lures. Center stick, green pumpkin red. So guys, today I've been experimenting a lot with the free rig, and I've been throwing the Texas rig too. And so these baits are very similar. You can throw the same type of plastics behind them. Let's give you a look at it for those that have never seen the free rig. So basically, the free rig is rigged just like your traditional Texas rig. The only difference is, as with your Texas rig, you're going to have it rigged on a bullet weight. And a lot of guys, they will put a peg or bobber stopper in front of that bullet weight, which I think is completely wrong, but you know, we'll talk about that in a second. But let's get started on the free rig. So we're going to talk about, you know, how to rig it, when to fish it, what to look for, what to target, you know, those type of things. I'm gonna give you some tips that I've learned from today and in the past throwing this rig. I'm gonna tell you some things that can limit your movement and action on this bait, and some of my favorite plastics and ways I like to fish it. So what makes this so different is you've just got your normal egg style weight. So I mean, you can find these anywhere. I just went to Academy last night and picked up some cheap ones. You know, these were like $1.99. 3/16, 3/8, and 1/4 ounce. You know, for right now, it's fall time. I don't like to go real big weights. I love throwing a lightweight finesse type presentation. It catches so many fish, and it don't just catch a bunch of fish, it catches good fish. And I've caught some really big bass on light finesse techniques, more with the Texas rig because I just started throwing this free rig. But anyways, today I caught several bass. I've only been out here for 2 hours or so on a lake that I haven't been to in probably 2 or 3 months. So, you know, I come out here, catch a bunch of bass on this thing. So I was using the 3/16 weight, but I'm gonna walk you through how I tie this, how I rig it up, and stay tuned because there's a really important tip that you might not notice when tying this free rig. So of course, you start out with your weight and your line. You know, this is the 3/16 ounce egg sinker. That's what I've been catching them on today. Let it run up your line, and I've been using a 3/0 Trocar. I think it's a Mag HD hook, and I'm just going to tie an improved clinch knot. Very simple knot. It's what I like to tie for just about everything when I'm using fluorocarbon. Do about 7 or 8 wraps. This isn't important, you know. You can look up how to tie this knot. That's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about the free rig. But hold tight, cinch this down, and here's the important part. So, you know, a lot of times you can get away with cutting your tag in, you know, with the fingernail length from the eye. But this is real important. You want to cut, like, makes a huge difference. You want to cut it as close to that knot as you can. And let me show you why. So with this egg sinker, and as big as this hole is, it catches a lot. So if you've got that tag end, once you rig up the bait, it's gonna prevent your sinker from sliding up your line every time. You know, it will, just not as effectively. And sometimes it'll hang up, and it'll be virtually the same thing as fishing a peg Texas rig. And you know, this movement of the egg sinker being free floating is what makes this rig so much different, and what initially gives you so much more bites. Plastic today, I've been throwing an X-Zone lure center stick in green pumpkin red. And so you're just going to rig it up like you would any old normal Texas rig. But here's another part. You know, a lot of times with the Texas rig, I just rig it up right there and have the knot right there, and then my bullet weight will come down. But with this free rig and the style egg sinker that I'm using, you want to push it all the way up so that it clears the knot. And so, you know, that'll eliminate the egg sinker catching on your knot and on your tag end if you cut it the way that I told you to. So, you know, there's your full presentation of the free rig with that X-Zone lure center stick. And so, I mean, guys, look, it's going to have so much movement. It's going to be compared to like a Carolina rig. So let's talk about some of the baits that I like to use. Obviously, we've talked about the center stick. X-Zone Lures makes a deception worm. This is a good bait. Give you a bigger profile, or a bigger and slimmer profile. That's the deception worm. And I personally haven't tried this yet, but I know a lot of guys, they like to throw a fluke on the back. I mean, and if you think about it, you know, it's a good presentation. You know, it's not standard to what most people are doing when they're throwing a fluke. So I like to mix it up, do stuff that other people aren't doing as much. So I think throwing that fluke would really be a cool presentation on the free rig. And, you know, for the live scopers, you could probably rig up some kind of little swim bait, you know, doing the hover type rig, whatever they call it. I don't do that. I don't have live scope on the boat. Let me show you the Texas rig, okay? So the Texas rig, I mentioned earlier, a lot of people like to peg it. And you know, I hate pegging a Texas rig unless I'm flipping like bushes or some kind of structure. And, you know, virtually with the bullet weight, it does the same thing as a free rig, but I feel like this is more like a horizontal presentation. And a lot of times when you cast, the way this bullet weight's designed is you're going to lose. If you cast 5 feet away, you're going to lose a little bit. Your bait's not going to end up under the water where you actually cast it. But here with this free rig, I really feel like it's more of a vertical presentation, more like a drop shot, you know. So like if you wanted to go smaller with your weight and rig it up on a spinning rod, which I'm not a huge fan of the spinning rod. If I can get away with bigger line and a bigger rod, I'm going to do it because, you know, I just love jacking on them with that dadgum ducket casting rod. So I've been throwing both today. I've had so much more luck on the free rig versus the Texas rig, and they're rigged up with basically the same stick bait, X-Zone center stick. But what I've noticed is the free rig excels in the open water and more like structure, rock. But if you get into the grass, I still caught a good bit on the free rig today in the grass. But I have noticed if you get into the grass, the Texas rig with the bullet weight comes through it a lot better. And this is a 3/16 ounce Texas rig. Today I targeted mainly rock, current breaks and stuff. You know, you can throw it the same places that you throw the Texas rig, the drop shot, Carolina rig, jig, wherever you throw, you know, your slow moving baits, finesse type deals. The free rig's going to excel. And real quick, we're going to talk about my rod and reel setup. What I have found is the best. Right now, the only size weights that I have to rig this up are the 3/16 like that's on it, the 1/4 ounce, and the 3/8. So this rod and reel setup would be perfect for all three of those weight scenarios. This is a Ducket 7-foot heavy Micro Magic Pro, and that 7-foot heavy is really going to be great. And Ducket, you know, if you know anything about them, they're a little bit lighter made rod, and they're very sensitive, and that's why I love them. You know, moving baits are great, and they make the heavy stick is what you would throw virtually if you're throwing another brand of rod in a medium heavy. So the heavy's kind of compared to that if you're throwing, you know, like a jig or a worm, Texas rig, free rig, stuff like this. I like to throw the heavy. And you can get away with the 7-foot medium heavy. That's what I've actually got my Texas rig rigged up on right now with the 3/16 ounce weight. So either one, they're very similar. The heavy definitely has more backbone, but I love these Ducket rods. And as far as the reel, this is a loose speed spool, 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. I added these little reel grips. They kind of piss me off sometimes. But anyway, 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. I like to have a fast moving reel so I can pick it up and get back in there, you know, if I miss a fish or something. And then I've got this rigged up on Berkley Trilene 100% fluorocarbon 15-pound test. Man, it's the best stuff on the market as far as fluorocarbon. I've been using it for years, and I have no affiliation with Berkley. They just make some really good lines. So guys, I hope you learned something today. I hope you go out there and smash them on the free rig because, you know, it's fairly new technique. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they started doing this in Japan, and then a couple years ago it kind of made its way over here. I just kind of heard about it probably 5 or 6 months ago, and I'm kind of a little late on the bus. It's still catching fish. Not a ton of people are doing it. Check it out. Get you some free rig, start bassing, catch a bunch of fish, and big fish too. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, hang around, watch some more videos. We're going to have several technique tip style videos this winter as we're taking a break for our tournament season, which starts back in February. So with that being said, thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.